Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the 2023 Ringin 10 Scratch Classic here at Star Lanes in Butte, Montana. We've had a great field. There were 256 entries into this tournament. Top 48 are going to play here on Sunday. Pins do not carry over, so we're starting fresh today for match play. So everybody has an equal opportunity at this point. We did have Steve Klemken, Manny Farrell, Greg Thomas. They all made great runs in the Suicide Squad last night, the last shift, into the wee hours of the morning. And Tim Williams has continued his trend of leaving it all to the last game. Shoots 243 last night to make the cut. Earlier this year, the Scratch Tournament in Ronan, the Scratch Tournament in Shoto, he did similar things. So it'll be interesting to see what his day looks like today. Alex Hoskins is not here this year. So that's one of the real top-notch bowlers in the Northwest isn't here competing. But this is a pretty strong field. Expect to see some great bowling today. Some good matches. This is a long grind. It's a true test of your skill managing the transition throughout the day. So I hope you enjoy the streaming, and please subscribe. I know that YouTube, everybody says that, please subscribe, but it's not that hard. It really is easy. It helps the channel. Just click the subscribe button and help Tom and 406 streaming out. The pattern that they're playing on today, it's 41 feet, 31 mils of oil. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. So there is some significant transition. That amount of oil out there does create a lot of transition. 3-to-1 is not the most difficult, but it certainly is a pattern with that, that length and that much volume of oil. It can be very challenging. The matches today. Starting on 1 and 2, you have Andy Kinney versus Craig Murray, Doug Hayes versus Jeff Carroll. On 3 and 4, you have Todd Edelin versus Tyler Norris, Adam Silverthorne versus Tim Williams. On lanes 5 and 6, you have Zach Trevino against Dave Martinich Jr., Peyton Sumners against Luke Brown. On 7 and 8, you have Nick Bagaro against Nate Gelling, Manny Farrell against Alf Lopez. 9 and 10, Kendall Miles against Daniel Murphy, Sean Hornberger against Chris Walker. 11 and 12, you have Steve Klemken against Mark Hodges, and that could be an interesting match right out of the gate. Jason Paris versus Greg Thomas. Lanes 13 and 14, you have Mike Hansen versus Glenn Whitewater, Chris Gray versus Clay Reese. 15 and 16, Tyler Lopez versus Ryan Sears, Jacob Dobkins versus Scott Douglas. 17 and 18, Michael Biederman versus Damon Winslow, Charles Wilkin versus Braden Linke. 19 and 20, Timothy Rath versus Corey Porter, Sean Jacobs versus Dayton Willoughby. 21 and 22, you have Ken Fong versus Josh Link, Craig Briggs versus Nick Stone. 23 and 24, you have Gio Clanaz versus Riley Woodard, and Michael Sager versus Jason Lower. And that is your first match of the day. One of the, I guess, kind of surprises in the tournament is Daria Payak. She bowled twice yesterday and did not make the cut, so that can give you some idea of the difficulty of making this cut.
They're going to put a few more minutes back on there. We'll have 5 more minutes to go. As you guys are finishing up your practice, I will go ahead and go through the last few announcements here so we can get going as soon as possible. It's been a long ride home for a lot of people today. I just want to congratulate the top 48. Thank everybody for making the trip. Once again, I got to thank the sponsors. Butte Auto, Century, Zip Beverage, Steins, Mackenzie River, Storm Products. Our ball raffle count is over $1,700 now. We're gonna have over $5,000 in added money for this weekend. That's not possible without these. Everybody got to hold up. The stop signs are up, please. They will. They'll turn them back on really quick here. Give me 5 more minutes.
And I will do the best job I can trying to cover all of the bowlers in the house. You know, we are across 24 lanes, so I don't have a bird's eye view of every pair, but I will try to keep everyone updated on matches that are exciting, matches that matter as the day goes on. We're going to have some that matter more than others. And I'll also try to focus on a few of the bowlers out there. I know, there is a large number of Calgary viewers that support the Canadian bowlers that come down here and compete, and we do have some Calgary folks that did make the cut. So I'll try and, take a look at what's going on with them a little bit. And then we, of course, have the top names in the Northwest that many people are interested in hearing about. So it hopefully will be a good experience for all of you that are viewing, a good day. And again, thank all of you for joining us for this day of bowling. Thanks to the sponsors, Butte Auto, Century Gaming, Budweiser, McKinsey River Pizza, Storm Bowling Products. I also want to put a plug in for the Northwest Tour, the Storm Northwest Tour. They have a number of great events throughout the year. So please support their events as well. If you can go to them in person, please do so. If not, you can catch them on some various streaming services as well. So right now we're in the last 10 minutes of practice before we get started. So I'm going to sign off here for just a short bit, and we'll be started shortly.
I have 1 minute left to practice. For the first 6 games, A bowlers and B bowlers will be on top. C bowlers and B bowlers will be on the bottom. After 6 games, those will flip-flop. After 6 games, we will take a short break. We got some sandwiches coming in, give you short little food, and try to get you back out and going pretty quick. Alright, if we can get you lined up for practice, we will get you started here.
Okay, practice is coming to an end. We're about ready to get started in competition today. Again, thank all of you for viewing. Please subscribe if you haven't. Looking for a great day of bowling here. This is a very strong field. Tough conditions. This is a tough tournament. It's a long day on Saturday to get here and a long day today to get to the top. So I hope you enjoyed today's content. And thank you again for supporting bowling. Bowling in Montana is pretty healthy. Bowling in the Northwest in general is pretty healthy. I know that as far as the United States goes, a lot of times it gets forgotten what happens in this part of the world. But unlike some areas in the U.S. where bowling is struggling, it's alive and well here. So thank you for your support. We're about ready to get started. And there it is, Nick Bagaro with the first shot in the tournament on Sunday. Nice start for him.
Start.
Things should go reasonably quickly. Off and rolling. Steve Klemken also starts with a strike. We've got quite a few strikes right out of the gate today. I think if yesterday's any indication, it's going to be important to put up some numbers early. The big scores are the lanes are gettable early. The fresh is kind. For those the bowlers in the Billings area, Josh Link is out here today. He had to re-enter, but did make the cut. Jeremiah Rooney re-entered as well, but wasn't as fortunate. Did not make the cut to Sunday. So we'll take a look at Josh's progress as well early on here. Down on 3 and 4. Tim is not off to a blazing start like he finished last night, but that's kind of his MO. He needs to get in a few warm-up games before he can start to shoot some scores. For yesterday also, spare shooting was at a premium. There were several bowlers that did struggle with spare shooting a little bit yesterday, so it will be kind of interesting to see how things progress as the day goes on today. Brooklyn shot for Ryan Sears on lane 15. Good fortune on 17. Damon threw it a little bit through the face and got it to carry. Clay Reese with the messenger taking the 10. Usually in this house, the lower end tends to produce some higher scores. The middle of the house can get a little bit difficult, and then the carry on the high end of the house sometimes can be a little rough, but they play consistently. So when you're in the low end, the low half of the house, you need to make your runs there. They should be gettable. I'd like to give a mention also to Zach Trevino. He had a good run yesterday. It'll be interesting to see what his match play day brings. But he did have success yesterday. Right now on 13 and 14, Chris Gray and Clay Reese, they have both started with the front three. So this match could be a pretty high scoring match. We have a few matches that, at least in the early going, there's some disparity of, somebody starting with 2 or 3 and somebody starting with opens against them. So I don't know if that will carry through as the general pattern for today, or if what Chris and Clay have started with is going to be the general pattern. A lot of scoring going on. Steve Klemken just flat 10. Nick's doing on the Dutch train. And spare strike, spare, or well, I'm assuming a spare. So we'll see. See what he does. And Zach is off to a good start this morning. Josh Lincoln, his match against Ken is off to a little bit of a slow start. And Gio's off to a nice start, down on 23 and 24. And Clay starts with the front four. Let's see if Chris can match. No, Chris rings a 10. So he's the first one to blink in their match. Trying, hopefully as the day goes on, I'll have a runner here that will be able to catch some scoring on the first 6 lanes, the first 3 pair. It's difficult for me to see those. I have a pretty good view of the rest of the house. 23 and 24 is a little difficult, but I can get a general sense of what's happening down there in the matches. There was a nice ball by Mike Hansen. He's in early control of his match over Glenn Whitewater. Glenn struck the first frame but has opened since, and Mike is on a Dutch pace, so he's got some control. Glenn throws a strike, so not going away completely, but he's got a little bit of work to do. We also the match on 17 and 18 between Charles and Braden. Braden is out to an early lead there. He's struck 3 of 4 in the first 4 frames, and Charles struck the first but is open frames 2 and 3. So he's in need of something here to right the ship. And that ball that did not make it back, very unusual lead from him, the 157 for Charles. So he's in a little bit of trouble early on in his match. Okay, we have Clay up again with the front 4. Another solid shot. So Clay starts with the front 5. 5-bagger to start. Good start to the day. We'll see what Charles does with this 157. And he gets the 1 and the 5. The 7 does not go. So he's now open 3 of the first 4 frames. So he's got to get something going soon. We'll see if Josh can get rolling. His opponent, Josh shows a strike. His opponent has the super washout, so he could start to make up a little ground here. Gio's up on 23. He's off to a good start as well. That one does not quite make it back. And again, I'm not really seeing what's going on the matches. On the first 6, I can't see the scoring with what's happening down there. But it does look like the match between Zach and Dave Martinich, the match between Zach Trevino and Dave Martinich. It looks like Dave is in control of that one. It looks like he has in the first 6 frames. It looks like he has 4 strikes, I believe, and Zach isn't matching that pace quite. Steve Klemken just threw one through the face. Yeah, it looks. There are a few matches where both players have good looks and are scoring, but a lot of the matches this morning to start this day look like we have sort of a case of the haves and the have-nots. Some people have a good look out of the gate, and some people are struggling to find it. Another case of some poor spare shooting on 15-16. Tyler Lopez just chopped the 6-10, chopped the 10 off the 6. So Clay Reese, his string stops in the 6th, but he does convert for 10 pin to the left. So he stays clean. Damon has doubled now. That match is pretty close. The match between Damon and Michael. Looks like Zach just struck. Down on 5 and 6. So he's got, I believe Zach has a 3-bagger now, maybe a 4-bagger. So he's got it going, but he's going to need everything. Dave's throwing the ball well down there. He just rung a 10, but he's also staying clean with majority of strikes. Oh, Clay had the 5-7 standing, 5's wiggling. It's the only pin left. So break for Clay there. Down on 23 and 24. Riley just struck. It looks like he's got 2 or 3 in a row. And Gio also struck. So that match, that's a good match going on down there. That one is fairly close. Ken converts a 10 pin down on 21 and 22. Clay no problem with the 5. Charles is still struggling in his match. Went light there and left the 2-4-10, did not convert it. Match here between Jacob and Scott on 15 and 16. That one is a fairly close match. Scott's staying clean, but he still trails. Jacob has been able to put some strikes together, so even with the open, Jacob has a slight lead over Scott. On that same pair, Ryan Sears is struggling just a little bit against Tyler. And the match still is in doubt, but Ryan's going to need to put some strikes together to get back in that. The match on 11 and 12 between Greg Thomas and Jason Paris. That one is fairly close, back and forth, and it's combination of strikes and then and misses. There, They're getting the grab bag of scoring on that pair. The Mark Hodges, Steve Klemken match. Mark Hodges has the advantage in that. He's out to a decent lead. And Clay Reese, another 9 count, up to 10 pins. So after his early 5 bagger, it's been 9 spares since. Looks like Zach's got it going. Looks like also Manny is off to a decent start today. He's struggled just a little bit as of late, but last night in the last shift on the fresh, he shot 290. Certainly not having that start today. The match between Mike Hansen and Glenn Whitewater, that is long over. Mike's got a 4-bagger starting in the 5th. Glenn's open the 9th for 125 in the 9th. Best he can shoot is 155. So that's going to hurt for Glenn. No bonus pins and not a high score. Oh, Michael just throws it through the face for the big 4. Not in doubt for the win and getting the bonus pins. However, I'm sure he'd like that shot back. Keep his string going. He has a chance to come out of the gate with a strong score. The scores also, if you want to check out tournamentbowl.com, the scores, match results as they come in are posted there, so you can follow that as well. Josh Link just left the 7-10 in the 9th frame. His opponent also, however, has left a split, so Ken doesn't convert. He gets 8 out, and so now we'll see what Josh does with this 7-10. Gio converts his spare. That match still looks pretty tight. I cannot see the score, but the match still, I believe, is fairly tight. Clay just left the 4-8-10. But Chris can't take advantage, leaves the 4-6-7. So he had a little bit of an opening there. If he could have struck, put some pressure on Clay, but he doesn't take advantage. So Clay is still in control of that match. On 15 and 16, Jacob and Scott still in a tight match. The match on that same pair between Ryan and Tyler, that one is pretty much over. Yeah, it is over. Best Ryan can shoot 180, and Tyler's already over that, so Tyler's going to win that match. going to go down and take a quick look at the match between Zach and Dave. Hey, Jeff Carroll and Todd Edlin both have huge games going here to start the day, so they are giving themselves a good opportunity to have a successful day. They've both been able to run quite a string of strikes. The match right now on 15 and 16 between Jacob and Scott. Right now, Jacob has the upper hand, and that will do it for Scott, I believe. Jacob's going to win that match. I'm going to go take a quick look at the scoring down on 23 and 24. Down on 23 and 24, Riley Woodard is going to defeat Gio, and Michael Sager is going to defeat Jason Lower. Wrapping up some games here. Clay Reese is going to win his battle with Chris Gray. And on 9 and 10, Sean Hornberger and Chris Walker. They're in a pretty tight match. Chris has been able to throw a four-bagger to put a little bit of pressure on Sean, and Sean goes Brooklyn to double. Steve Klemken strikes to start the 10th against Mark. Steve has trailed the majority of that match against Mark, and he can shut Mark out now if Steve goes off the sheet. And there's another strike by Sean. That one, however, was flush rather than being Brooklyn. And Mark Hodges is in must strike, and he does. That puts some pressure still on Steve. Okay, Steve Klemken's up. He needs this one, needs this strike. And he does not strike. He crosses and leaves a 6-pin. So the best he can shoot is 181. Mark Hodges needs this one. If he strikes here, he will win the match. And he does. He goes through the face and trips the 2 forward. The 2-7 was standing, 7 went, and then the 2 tripped forward. That's going to get him into the 180s. Steve can convert here for 181. It's not going to be enough. So that was a huge break for Mark to be able to defeat Steve. Now I am assuming that Mark's going to get at least 3 on this next shot. And Steve just intentionally missed the 6-pin to try a ball. And Mark strikes, so he finishes with 189, defeats Steve Klemken. That was a good match. That was fun to watch. Okay, so we're getting ready for match 2. Your pairings in match 2. On 1 and 2, we have Tyler Norris against Gio, Tim Williams against Michael Sager. Lanes 3 and 4, Dave Martin versus Andy Kinney, Luke Brown versus Doug Hayes. 5 and 6, Nate Gelling versus Todd Edlin. There's a Butte pairing right there. Butte against Butte, some local talent. Alf Lopez against Adam Silverthorne. Lane 7 and 8, Daniel Murphy versus Zach Trevino. Chris Walker versus Peyton Summers. 9 and 10, Mark Hodges versus Nick Bagaro. Greg Thomas versus Manny Farrell. 11 and 12, Glenn Whitewater versus Kendall Miles. Clay Reese versus Sean Hornberger. 13 and 14, Ryan Sears, Steve Klemken, Scott Douglas versus Jason Paris. 15 and 16, Damon Winslow versus Mike Hansen. Braden versus Chris. Corey Porter versus Tyler. Dayton Wilby, Jacob Dobkins. 19 and 20, Josh versus Michael Biederman. Nick Stone versus Charles Wilkin. 21 and 22, Riley versus Timothy Rath. Jason Laura versus Sean Jacobs. 23, 24, Craig Muir versus Ken Pong. Jeff Carroll versus Craig Briggs. So those are your matches that are just getting underway for round 2. Again, a big thanks to the sponsors: Butte Auto, Zip Beverage, Century Gaming, Star Lanes, Kinsey River Pizza, Storm Products. And also thank all of you for tuning in today, and please subscribe if you haven't. I hope you're enjoying things. I certainly am having fun watching the bowling that's going on. We're still finishing the first match on lanes 11 and 12. The first matches have not completed there yet. We have started the second match on most of the other pairs. Round 2 has begun. Corey Porter starts with a beautiful shot. we have finished up that match on 11 and 12, so they are moving on to their next pairs. See if we can get going. So now Tim Williams with that big start is kind of humorous. I know I spoke to him this morning, and he was not going to re-enter, and he was planning on getting some sleep this morning, but re-entered and ended up making the cut. So for him today, he didn't expect to be here, and now he is, and he starts off with a big game. So it is going to be interesting to follow his travels a little bit today.